Mr. Edit Man presents. What's something really ducking weird that you do? I freestyle rap to our deaf dog when no one is home. When I was 6 I heard a story about how there was a snake in another kid's toilet bowl. For the last 11 years every single time I have gone to sit on the toilet I look at the bowl before sitting down. It gotten to the point where I cannot poop unless I know I'm safe. I do this too. And I check the entire bathroom for murderers and whatnot as well. I do duck my head into the shower behind the curtain to be sure that no deadly assassins await. Why there would be deadly assassins after me, I do not know. Why these allegedly deadly assassins have decided that the shower is the one place they can hide, I do not know. What I think I would do if one were in there, I do not know. Whenever I cook something I narrate the process in my head as if I were hosting a terrible cooking show. I do this too, but my dog is the audience. He pays very close attention. I'm not a confrontational person. So if I'm angry at someone I will imagine a scenario where I'm telling them off. Without realizing, I start having an audible conversation with no one. Kind of awkward in the grocery store. Solution. Wear a Bluetooth headset. Whenever I watch stuff on TV, I imitate facial expressions. Whether it's the facial expressions of real people or cartoon character, it does not matter. I'll sit there and imitate them. It gets pretty hilarious when I try to imitate stupid looking faces or when I see a face drawn in perspective. Say the character's face is turned slightly to the left away from me. I will open my right eye, slightly close my left, and open my mouth to the right. I do not think anybody has caught me ever doing it, but plucking my nose hairs with my fingers. It's so rewarding when you get an inch-long hair that felt like it was attached to your brain. I refer to myself as we instead of I in my head. I walk around my house and pretend like I'm giving a tour to someone who came from the 1920s. And this is a microwave. My bottom lip tends to dry out quickly. So when most of the skin gets dry I press my bottom lip in between my teeth and bite off the skin and proceed to eat it. I have tried to alleviate the problem by using lip balm, but I always seem to just misplace them. Sometimes when I do this in public I feel really zealous. And I spit out the dead skin onto surfaces so that it sticks against it. On cold nights, I'll wrap my entire self, with head poking out, in my blanket and narrate what would be happening around me if I was on Mount Everest. Day 18. Still at base camp. I just cannot get used to this cold. The pressure from the altitude is unbearable, etc. When I buy anything at the store I always buy the second one. What I mean is, if I buy a bag of chips, I move the first bag out of the way and buy the second one. The same with video games. Televisions if I have the option, literally everything. I do this also for fear the first was dropped or damaged in some way because it's in the front. Then I became paranoid that the second one became the replacement of the front because people would try to put the damaged copy back behind another copy. So I basically grab the second to last now. I relive arguments I had years ago or ones I wished it had. Wished I told one of my HS teachers why her attacks on evolution were ridiculous for a public school psych class. Sometimes I imagine ones I have never had, usually about political stuff. But that's not the weird part. If I have had coffee, and especially if I'm out walking after that coffee, I'll sometimes catch myself barely moving my mouth, like I'm muttering the arguments, without making noise. I have become paranoid that I do it around friends and coworkers, and that they call me schizo behind my back. I constantly talk to myself and kind of pretend much like little kids do. I pretend I'm fighting in a war, or I'm president of the United States. I'll order people around, or give fake speeches. I do not do anything that's too weird. I used to collect toenail clippings because I wanted to leave a big pile of them in the middle of the floor at Walmart. That never came to fruition, though. I bite the skin around my fingernails. My hands look disgusting. Me too. Gross. ISN not it. I cannot stop. Even when I draw blood. My nails are in pristine condition. But the skin around them related. I also chew on my pencils and pens. But only when I'm nervously preparing for an exam. Just another disgusting habit of mine. Let's see. Every night I use my imagination to live weird adventures in space. Like I'm in some kind of space opera. I have a diary about it. Every morning write the things that happened in my imagination. I put an end to this behavior a while back, but when I was younger, I would constantly make mental bets with myself in order to make myself do things. For example, I'd be like, if I cannot finish my homework in the next 10 minutes, my pet goldfish will die. The consequence was something I never had any control over. It is only now that I'm studying abnormal psychology that I realize that this has slight parallels with how obsessive compulsive disorder operates. I like to tie things to my toes. If I find a bit or string or ribbon or even plastic that's a nice color, then it gets tied to one of my toes. My feet make me happy. Why not give them gifts? Small bite-sized food must be eaten in pairs. Band-Mays, Skittles, goldfish crackers. If you can grab a handful of it and eat it, I have to eat it in multiples of 2. My sister knows this and likes to mess with me. If we're sharing Band-Mays at the theater, she'll intentionally give me an odd number and make me ask for another one. It has to do with balance. I like both sides of my mouth to do the same amount of work. I can eat odd numbers. I just prefer even ones. I have saved my earwax sporadically over several years. I use a hairpin or something else to scrape out my ear canals. Then I carefully deposit it in the old cap to a Macube pencil. I have a solidly packed cylinder of earwax that is about 3 centimeters long by 1 in diameter. Why? I wanted to see if I could set a ridiculous task and stick with it. My cats have also always liked the smell of earwax. So I wanted to see if I could make a crayon of earwax so that I could write words they like to smell. Obvious questions. Yes. I have seen the Mythbusters candle segment. No. I'm not taking a picture. I have so little because earwax has a lot of air and water in it and dries up and compresses readily. Its color is a dark rust. No. I have not yet tried to write with it. Yes. I hide it from the cats. No. I have not tasted it. Yes. I have smelled it. And it smells waxy and a little like vanilla. I'm a girl and I like to brush my teeth passionately without a shirt or a bra so I can watch my boobs jiggle. I stand up to wipe after using the toilet. I have never thought it was weird, but I have been told that it is. Sometimes when I'm on the bus or a really long car ride, I put my iPod on shuffle and then make up a musical in my head from what's going on in the songs. It's awesome when trying to pass the time. I check under the toilet lid to make sure there are not spiders there before I sit down to pee. I do not want eggs up there. I do all kinds of weird malarkey. When I eat broccoli, I pretend I'm a giant, eating trees. When I'm playing single player in any number of games, I pretend someone has my GF hostage, and I only get her if I beat a certain score. I talk in a British accent when rehearsing how confrontations go, as it seems the British are just better at snappy, sarcastic remarks when someone pisses me off, but I cannot do anything about it. I quietly hum the classic clown circus theme when they walk time to their steps. I set ice cubes out in various places because I enjoy seeing if they melt and dry by the time any of my roommates notice. Some weird mental timing game. This is not emo so much as weird, but by people's reactions. It seems pretty ducking weird. I have a lot of music, so to make sure I miss none of it, I'm extremely anal and have to listen to it alphabetically by artist. That is all I can think of offhand. Crossdress. If I lived alone, I would love to spend entire days at home wearing women's clothing. Someday I would also like to order some nice women's clothing off the internet and make a nice wardrobe. I bite my nails. Not like bite them when they are long. I have bitten 7 of my 10 fingers down to basically the cuticle to the point where they bleed sometimes if I get too good of a chunk off. I've started ripping/biting off the new exposed skin because it grows tougher than other skin. I haven't not had a nail grow past the length of my finger since I was like about 8 when I started. I'm 21 now. When I first open a large bag of small candy or nuts, I reach in and grab a handful of them, eat all but one, then throw that one back in the bag. You see, the almonds or hot tamales or whatever think that they're being transferred via bag to the promised land. They think that the majestic, godlike hand that reaches into their lair is the means that they reach their final Elysium. But no. When that first lucky group gets chosen to be the first to transcend the bag and go on to the great unknown, those left behind feel a mix of happiness for those who have gone on and excitement in anticipation for their own time when they will be chosen. But what's this? Soon after the first choosing, the bag reopens and one of the members of that first lucky group returns. He has a look of absolute horror on his face. He brings with him tales not of happy rivers and mountains of serenity, but of a horrible monster that devoured his compatriots right in front of him and then tossed him back as if an afterthought. The stories that he brings shift the mood in the bag from excited to horrified. What they thought was a deliverance to heaven is now an assurance of hell. They contemplate forming a committee to petition the beast, or perhaps an army to fight against him. But what can be done against such power, such size, such evil? What can be done but await their fate. Whenever I'm in the passenger seat of a car, I flex my butt cheeks every time the front wheels of the car are parallel to a fire hydrant. When I was little, I would go to the bathroom and I would not wanna wash my hands after, but my mom would be listening to make sure I did, so I would turn the water on for a minute so she would think I did and just let it run. Sometimes I still do that habitually without really thinking about it. If I do not feel like washing my hands, I'll still symbolically let the water run for a minute. I rip my beard out, hair by hair, and chew on each individual piece between my front teeth, every single hair, until I have no more facial hair on an entire side of my face. I'm ducking doing it right now. Sigh. You have made it until the end of this video. Now listen here, and listen here closely. Like and subscribe for more curated content from Mr. Edit Man. Thanks for watching.